Welcome to Meganet Gaming, and today's review is going to be on a classic DOS game that I had shortly after its release, and that is Terminal Velocity. Terminal Velocity was developed by Terminal Reality, published by 3D Realms for Windows 95 and 98, and it also was published by Microsoft for Mac OS. It uses the Photex engine, which was also used in some other games, including Fury 3, which was essentially the same game in a lot of ways. It's an arcade-style 3D space shooter with a lot of missions. The controls are very easy to learn, yet the flying it's definitely of an arcade style. You can go above the clouds, you can fly around freely on a lot of the levels. However, it does mix in some levels where you have tunnels. You have to do a lot of 360-degree movements. So, let's get the game up and running to demonstrate it. This is a game where the music starts off like it's kind of a techno style music. It starts off really strong, but it does get a bit repetitive after a while. The craft has no inertia, which is a pretty interesting thing. You can go from going super fast to super slow, fly at low speeds, and go upside down, fly any direction. You guys have full freedom of movement. The game has 3 episodes, and each episode has 3 different worlds, so you have 9 levels altogether. And at the end of each world there's a boss. Most of the missions are the type of destroy this certain item in the environment. It does give a backstory it's interesting enough, but where the focus of this game really is on the gameplay. For the time this was released, 1995, the graphics were quite impressive, and despite being fairly low resolution and pixelated, they still hold up well to today. Now they don't look realistic, they definitely look like a game. Definitely not realistic graphics, but they're done well enough where you can tell what everything is, and it doesn't impact the gameplay. You do have a variety of weapons to choose from, but really where this game shines is just in the flying. You can do barrel rolls, you can fly super low to the ground, fly through canyons, and explore, but you're limited to just the 9 levels where the terrain does get repetitive at times. It is interesting you can actually fly above the clouds, which is something you don't often see in games this time. So basically what you're trying to do, as far as the gameplay goes, it pretty much, for the time it nailed it. I'm not even really into either arcade style space shooters nor flight simulators, but this is a game that has enough of a first-person shooter style feel to it, and a lot of speed where it almost feels like if you took Descent and put it in an open world map to a degree. So what this backstory is it's set in 2704, when the Alliance of Spacefaring Alien Races, which Earth is a member of, suddenly turns against Earth and their fleet ravages the planet, starting a war. Player flies a powerful starfighter, the TV-202, in a series of missions to defeat the enemy. In Episode 3, actually I won't discuss Episode 3, so that's enough of the backstory. So, it's a fun game. It executes the combat quite well. The trains do get repetitive, but they're interesting enough to keep your attention, and there's enough change in the terrain to create some situations where flying is quite fun and thrilling. The craft controls quite well. I'm terrible at these games. I was able to handle the controls adequately. Problem is there's just not enough depth to this game. You have the missions, you can fly around freely on the levels, but once you're done with all that, it's just 9 levels. This game can be beat fairly quickly. If it had more content, I'd be willing to rate it higher, but there's just not enough here to put it that high up on the list. It is one of my favorite arcade style flying games though, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the very good category. I'll go ahead and give the game a B rating. And as far as where I'm going to put on the list, I am going to put it on the list right I'll put it getting a lot of games on the list. I think I'll put it right below Abuse and right above NBA Live 95. So like I said, it's a very good game. If you can pick it up, it is available on a lot of different platforms. If you wanted it from GOG, I believe it's on there. I'll check really quick. And for some reason Firefox is running super slow. Looks like yes it is. It is on GOG. And the game runs very well in DOSBox without needing to do many modifications, unlike many games of the time. As far as getting a disc copy, the disc copies are fairly cheap. You shouldn't spend more than $15 getting the game in a jewel case. Complete in box is slightly more, but definitely not outside a reasonable price range. And for the GOG version, it costs $5.99. Definitely worth the price. So if you're into this style of game, definitely check it out. If you enjoyed Descent but wanted a more open environment, this game will probably be for you. Hope you enjoyed the review. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.